Warlocks. This build makes me envious to become a Warlock main. This even might tip the tides from a Titan main to a Warlock main after you see this build video. This build video is going to give you 3 different things under a Warlock, and we're going to steal different parts from a Titan and a Hunter. We're going to be able to go invisible, grant ourselves overshield, and debuff any targets in the game. We're debuffing targets because of our exotic Fellwinter's Helm. We're getting an overshield by using our seasonal artifact mods, and we're gaining invisibility by using the fragments and aspects in this build, which I will talk about. We're able to do one of my most favorite things in the game, which is get close and personal, and we're not using a Boink Hammer Titan. We're going to be using a glaive, and the next exotic in this build that makes this build truly shine will be Heart Shadow, which you can pick up from the Duality dungeon. We're able to stay invisible for most of the duration, and when we do decide to pop out of invisibility, we're able to just do one finisher and debuff all the targets in the surrounding area, so all the targets will not be debuffed and they will not even hit you or target you anymore. This is one of the strongest builds to running your Warlock for solo content and in-game content. So let me jump straight into this build. So you already know of one exotic, the Heart Shadow. The second exotic that makes this build shine and will be granting us our debuff for the build will be Fellwinter's Helm. Fellwinter's Helm has the exotic perk Warlord's End. Powered melee final blows create a burst energy that weakens nearby targets. Finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the radius of the burst and increase the length of the weakening effects. So the stronger the target is, the longer the duration of the debuff will last. That's all we're using this exotic for, is to debuff all of our enemies. This build was synergized with getting up close and personal with targets, making them weak, and finishing all those targets so we're able to debuff all of our surrounding enemies. Now, the way we're going to be picking up an overshield after debuffing those targets is by using our seasonal artifact mods. The 3 seasonal artifact mods you want to be rocking in this build so you're able to gain an overshield will be Onto the Breach. So defeating a void debuff targets creates a void breach while your void subclass is equipped. The next artifact perk we do want is Protected Breach. So picking up a void breach gives you an overshield and it refreshes your current existing overshield. And the last thing we do want is Supernova. And Supernova means picking up a void breach causes your next source of void damage to create a large weakening pulse. So we're debuffing and weakening all of the enemies in our vicinity once we do start to chain our finishers back to back by using Fellwinter's Helm and by just finishing targets in general. To dive into our Void 3.0 subclass, our Super will be Nova Bomb and all of our abilities will be the same. I don't really change out any of my abilities. The one ability I do tend to change out is my grenade. I love Scatter Grenade and Nova and Vortex Grenade, so I swap between Vortex and Scatter Grenade a lot of the time, but it really is up to preference. The key things we want to keep in mind is our aspects and fragments. For the aspects, we do have Chaotic Exchanger, so our Scatter Grenades has sub munitions that track nearby targets, which is very good, especially if you're not used to just throwing your Scatter Grenade and you need it to kill more targets. And the next thing we do have in this build will be unlimited health regen because of the Void aspect, Feed the Void. So once we do defeat a target with the Void ability, we will activate the perk Devour, and once Devour is active, any final blow from any source will extend the duration of Devour. That's how we have unlimited health regen. We're able to get up close and personal with any amount of ads, and we're able to slay out consistently. Now, the fragments in this build will synergize well with going invisible and doing finishers. That's all we want our fragments to do in this build. So for our first fragment, we have Echo of Cessation. So our finisher final blows create a burst of void energy that causes nearby targets to become volatile, and once we defeat those volatile targets, we will spawn a void breach. Picking up that void breach grants us an overshield because of our seasonal artifact perk. Next thing we do have is Echo of Persistence, so our Devour buff, our overshield, and our invisibility have increased duration. This extends everything, so we just need it so we have a longer duration while we are invisible. Next thing we do have is Echo of Obscurity, and this is how we're able to gain our invisibility by doing the finisher. Echo of Obscurity means that our finisher final blow will grant us invisibility, and that's why we're combining it with Fellwinter's Helm. So once we do get those finishers, we're going to debuff and go invisible. The one thing that makes everything just come together is going to be Echo of Invincibility, because a Void 3.0 build wouldn't be a Void 3.0 build without making your Void weapons have volatile rounds, and Echo of Invincibility gives us just that. Once we defeat targets with our Scatter Grenade, it's going to give volatile rounds to all of our Void weapons. That's it for our Void 3.0 subclass. You want to keep in mind that everything synergizes around our finisher, so build your Void 3.0 subclass to play around your finisher. The weapons we have in this build will be an auto rifle, a glaive that is void, and then Heart Shadow. We have a void glaive so we can get very close and personal and deal as much damage as possible. When we do need to finish our target, they're going to be very weak by going up close and personal and hitting them with the glaive. Now for our artifact mods and artifact perks, we have nothing special in our artifact mod or even in our mod system. We're just going to be generating orbs, and we're going to be using everything to synergize well with our finisher. So the only key important mod you need to worry about will be bulwark finisher on your class item, and bulwark finisher is going to grant you an overshield once you do perform a finisher on a target. That's the main important thing we need to keep in mind for our mod 3.0 system. Everything else is pretty standard. On our helmet we have void siphon and kinetic siphon. On our gauntlets we're only running void dexterity and impact induction. On our chest piece our regular damage resist mods, and on our feet we have innervation and better already. Like I said, everything is pretty standard mods. The only thing we want in this build is bulwark finisher for our mod system, and we are building into 100 resilience and 100 discipline because there's no real stat that refunds our finisher, since our finisher is always available to be used anytime we get an enemy weekend. As always, if you stay tuned this long, drop photo finish in the comment. Photo finish is my favorite shirt, and just let me know that you made it this far in the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.